everyone! This is Haley from Cruise Blog, and today we're going to be talking about top 10 cruise dining mistakes that cruise passengers make. Let's get started. When people think of cruises, they often think about unlimited food, and while that's true, the dining experience on board a cruise ship differs from land-based restaurants. You, for instance, will not receive a check at the end of your meal. While it might seem a bit foreign, all you have to do is say thank you and leave. No need to worry about having anything billed to your onboard account, unless that is, you choose to dine at one of the ship's specialty restaurants or order a premium selection in the main dining room. Whether you're a first-time cruiser or simply want to refresh yourself on cruise ship dining etiquette, here are our top 10 mistakes that you'll want to avoid making during your cruise. First up, forgetting to reserve specialty dining in advance. Your cruise fare will include all of your meals and certain complimentary venues, such as the ship's buffet and dining room. If, however, you want to spice up your dining experience, you might consider reserving a specialty dinner or two during your stay. In addition to higher quality ingredients, the atmosphere in specialty venues is more akin to what you'll find at land-based restaurants, with fewer tables than the ship's main dining room and a more relaxed feel. Reservations can go quickly, though, especially for prime dining times. If you wait until you're on the ship, you might be disappointed to find that all of the times for teppanyaki have been booked. Plus, many cruise lines offer pre-cruise sales on things like specialty dining. To get the best price possible, you should check your cruise planner to see what is available. Otherwise, you might be stuck paying a higher price for the same experience. Next up, assuming that everything on the menu in the main dining room is included. If you choose to forego the specialty restaurants to take advantage of the complimentary dining options, it is important to be aware that while extensive, not everything on the menu in the main dining room is included in your cruise fare. On board Royal Caribbean ships, for instance, you will pay extra for a Maine lobster tail, about $16.99, Chops Grill Filet, about $19.99, or Surf and Turf for about $34.99. Similarly, Carnival Cruise Line now charges extra if you decide to order a third entree. While the price is only $5, you cannot order whatever you want without being subject to an additional fee. Next up, choosing the wrong dining option. When booking your cruise, you will have to decide whether you want to dine at a set time each evening or would prefer to have a more flexible dining experience. The correct answer varies based on your party. You might, for instance, value not having to worry about making reservations or wait times while on vacation, whereas another group may want to dine in between the early and late seatings. Before making any selections, you must do enough research to choose which option is best. With traditional dining, you'll select one of two times. The first is an earlier seating that's often between 5:30 p.m. and 6 p.m., while the second is considered late dining, and you can expect to eat anywhere from 7:45 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Since you have a set dining time, you will also have an assigned table and waitstaff each night of your cruise. Flexible dining has different names based on what cruise line you're sailing with. Royal Caribbean, for instance, calls it My Time Dining, while Carnival Cruise Line calls it Anytime Dining. This option means that you won't be assigned a table or have a specific dining time. Instead, you'll sit somewhere different each evening based on what's available when you arrive at the main dining room. Some flexible dining programs allow you to make reservations in advance, whereas others require you to check in when you are ready to eat. Next up, forgoing complimentary room service breakfast. If you have an early excursion, the last thing you'll want to be doing in the morning is trying to rush everyone out the door to get to breakfast on time. Instead, most cruise lines allow you to order complimentary room service for breakfast. You may, however, have to pay a service charge. On Virgin voyages, this comes out to about $5 per order. While you won't have as many options as you would in the ship's buffet, having your food and coffee delivered to your stateroom will save you both time and energy. You can eat while you finish getting ready for the day. Next up, not allotting enough time for dinner. Cruise ship dinners are meant to be an upscale dining experience. Rather than feeling rushed, you're meant to enjoy each course and be in the company of those you travel with. That being said, you should not expect to be in and out of the main dining room in 30 minutes or less. You should not arrive at the dining room around 7:15 p.m. with hopes of being seated for an 8 p.m. show. If you're running late, you might want to consider eating dinner at the buffet instead. While your waitstaff will try to accommodate your needs, you also need to give yourself plenty of time to navigate from the dining room to the venue for your show. You may even need to use the restroom in between. Next up, skipping breakfast and lunch in the main dining room. Did you know that the main dining room is open for more than just dinner? Treat yourself to a delicious brunch instead of visiting the crowded buffet for breakfast. Carnival Cruise Line, for instance, is known for their sea day brunch. The 12-hour French toast with roasted pecans is a must-try. Even on disembarkation day, you can visit the main dining room for breakfast. While the offerings may be more limited, you do not have to search for a seat like you would in the buffet. If you aren't sure when the main dining room is open on your cruise, simply check the daily schedule. On most ships, you'll be able to do this via the mobile app. However, you can always request a physical copy from your cabin steward or guest services while on your cruise. Next up, thinking you don't have to research the dining options on your ship before booking. If your preliminary research hasn't revealed this already, not all cruise ships are built the same. Some of the newest ships at sea have over 20 dining options on board, whereas some of the older ships might only have 4 or 5. Foodies will want to consider what they're hoping to get out of their cruise culinary-wise. Will you be satisfied dining in the main dining room for the majority of your meals, or would you prefer a ship with more specialty restaurants? Similarly, is the buffet okay for lunch, or would you like some fast casual options that dish up fresh tacos, burgers, etc.? Next up, filling up your plate in the ship's buffet with more food than you will actually eat. While cruise ships seem like a haven of endless food, it is important that you do your part to ensure you are not being wasteful. Prior to loading up your plate in the buffet, evaluate all of your options, so you do not get more than you will eat. If you finish your plate and are still hungry, simply return to the buffet for seconds. Plus, you'll be able to tailor your selections more toward your specific cravings at the moment. Maybe you want to start with eggs and yogurt for breakfast before choosing what carbohydrate you want. At lunch, you might begin the meal with a craving for chicken tenders and end with wanting something sweeter. Next up, not trying the local cuisine in favor of saving money and eating complimentary meals on board. Even if you're traveling to the Bahamas, you should have at least one meal ashore. Personally, I've always found that trying the local cuisine is a great way to be immersed in the culture, even if you're only on shore for 8 hours or less. For instance, when fellow cruise blog writer Elizabeth cruised to Sicily with MSC Cruises, she booked a local street food tour and got to eat her way through the city while learning about the region's history. Additionally, while in Valencia, Spain, Elizabeth made a point to find a place to try paella. This was a bit more difficult than she'd imagined, since she was traveling solo and most restaurants require you to place at least 2 orders of paella at once. She was successful on her mission though, and greatly enjoyed it. Next up, not trying new foods. Even if you are a picky eater, you should try and venture out of your comfort zone at least once during your cruise vacation. When fellow cruise blog writer Elizabeth sailed on board Carnival Vista, for instance, she and her cousin tried frog legs for the first time. They did not quite enjoy the texture, but now they can say that they tried something new. That being said, it is important to be mindful of waste. If you are not sure whether you'll like a dish or not, ask the waitstaff if you can try a half portion. And so that concludes our top 10 dining cruise mistakes that you do not want to make while on board your next cruise vacation. We hope that you enjoyed this video and that you will consider liking and subscribing. Until next time, happy cruising!